Hello, Simon.
It's lovely to see you.
And you too, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's nice to see the sun out as well. So, you're a dietitian with a specialist interest in allergies. So
Yes,
it was
that's correct, yeah.
really interesting to talk to you. So, we've got some other videos on the channel talking about weaning. We've got also talking to Dr. Helen about various aspects of introducing foods as well to children. But what would be the main kind of issues that would come through to you from parents that maybe have children of a school age?
So I think a lot of parents are worried that themselves or somebody else is going to give their child something they're allergic to. So a lot of the issues are actually around what on earth can I feed my child? How can I keep my child safe? Is there anything I can do to help others keep my child safe? And really confidence, how do I give confidence to others and to my child?
So, and what sort of age would you suggest that a parent then starts teaching their child about reading food labels and
As early as
understanding?
possible, really, to be honest. Yeah, really as early as possible. And remember, everybody is different and every child and family are different. But I think as early as possible to make it really normal that we look at a label.
And also, what at Anaphylaxis UK were, trying to provide that information and support for people that they can do things, And what I'm always saying with children, they can go on the school trips, they can go to the zoo, they can do the fun things
Yeah.
that other kids do, but they just need a little bit of information, and the parents need a bit of information and the support that we give to schools as well. I hope through our Allergy Wise
Yes.
for Schools program also assists. But there are things that the pupils that the child with an allergy, their mates also need to know as well. How do you get a child really to understand what they can and can't eat, what they should avoid, but also how do they talk to their friends about that?
I think, as anything, preparation is the most important thing. Being informed and preparing ahead of time so that the whole trip is not all about the child's food. Oh, yes, we'll go to a party, but all we're going to do is talk about the child's food. It's not about that. It's about doing everything beforehand, informing others beforehand, and keeping things positive. I can have this. This is what I can have. This is what I can do. Oh, here's a recipe. Oh, look, I've bought some biscuits to share. It's all about being really ahead of time, planning ahead so that the event can be enjoyed. And I think that is probably the most important thing. And making sure, having the medications available. But it's not a big thing. They're available. Here's the action plan. Here's my phone number. This is what to do. And if everything's prepared ahead of time, there isn't that big panic and discussion all about the child and their food and their allergies, and keeping it, just trying to keep things positive, I think, is the key.
And when needed, there are often the alternatives. So you might have alternative milks and so on. Is there general guidance or advice that you would give to parents around removing cow's milk from a child's diet, for example, and replacing it with, I don't know, almond or some of the other varieties that are out there?
So for a child on a dairy-free or milk-free diet, firstly, it's are they completely avoiding milk? Or some children are on a milk ladder where they can include certain things. So it's really important, firstly, to know what the level of exclusion is. And it could be really, really strict, or it could be, well, you can have baked milk in a biscuit, but no other forms. And then once you know that, and how severe the previous reactions have been, it's really about saying, okay, so how can we include milk in the diet as a dairy-free milk, an alternative milk? What should we do instead of ice cream? What dairy-free alternatives are there available? So do they have calcium in them? Does the child like them? So it might be that you give a dairy alternative the child doesn't like. There's 20,000 others out there. Let's try something different, preferably one with added calcium, added iodine. It's really, if the child doesn't like the alternative, they won't have it at all. So if you find one the child likes and it happens to be lacking in certain nutrients, you can make those up in other ways. Of course, you can use those alternatives to adapt recipes. So you can make a lasagna with dairy-free cheese, dairy-free milk, and dairy-free margarine, and then the whole family can have it. You can have cakes. If the child's just allergic to dairy, you make the cake as normal, but you use a dairy-free butter, and then just share it with everybody. There's no difference in the taste. It's just as nice. So it's really about what can I do to keep this all-inclusive for the child, and make life easier for them whilst kind of preserving their diet as much as we can to make it taste good and look good and be nutritious.
And how about children with an egg allergy? I would imagine that is quite challenging when preparing food, for example. It's not just the raw egg, it's the egg that might be in a cake, birthday cake, for example.
Okay, so if they're going to somebody else's birthday party, you can't really say to that person, oh, you've got to have an egg-free cake because of me. But what you could do is the parent of the child could go to the person at the party and say, beforehand, and say, oh, what sort of cake are you having? Oh, we're having a Star Wars lemon cake. Well, make that Star Wars lemon cake and do another version, take it along to the party so the child can have the similar thing, put it on the table. Everyone else can have it after the child's had their slice. So it's just keeping things inclusive and preparation again.
So it's helping the parents. So your role would be then to help the parents with those practical elements, that advice, those tips on
definitely
how to prepare. What further would you?
So I'd give them examples of egg replacers. So did you know you can make meringue that's egg-free by using chickpea water? Did you know you can use any pureed fruit like apple puree or pear puree in order to bind a mixture together? You can use baking powder as a raising agent instead of egg. So there's so many clever recipes, especially since the vegan movement, more vegan people, there's much more vegan inclusive recipes available freely. Just one caveat though, vegan foods are not necessarily 100% egg-free or milk-free. There could be traces. A lot of them say traces. So do be aware of that if the allergy is really, really severe. But again, there's different degrees of allergy and different requirements of exclusion. So some people can tolerate small amounts of a baked egg in something. Others can't even have a trace of it. So I think as dietitians and as healthcare professionals, what we're saying is let's help you understand what the allergy clinic have told you. Let's interpret your test results in terms of practical day-to-day management of your diet, your lifestyle, your recipes, your trips out, your holidays. How does it work in practice? You've got this diagnosis, egg allergy, milk allergy, or milk, egg, soya, and bean allergy, and you're vegetarian. Then what? So we're just saying, okay, this is what the diagnosis is. This is the practical way. This is what we can do about it.
And I think that would be particularly helpful in the practical elements of how to prepare food.
Completely.
I didn't know about the meringue there. I'm going to give that a try as well, actually.
Oh, it's amazing. It's called aqua faba, water of the bean. And there's loads of recipes online. So have a look at this. Honestly, it's amazing. You'll never go back to the egg one again.
Very good. Very good. And of course, both with egg, milk, very common to have a peanut allergy. Is that treated in any different way?
Well, people will say, oh, peanut allergy, that's the worst allergy you can possibly have. Well, actually, any allergy can be just as dangerous as a peanut allergy. We're focusing on what do you do about your allergies? How can you prevent? It's all about preventing an allergic reaction. How can you do that? Because you're taking care in the kitchen to prevent cross-contamination, because you're reading labels. Not once, you're reading labels every single time because labels change. And then you're not presuming anything. People come to clinic and say, oh, I think my child's outgrown their milk allergy because they keep having things with butter in and they're fine. Never, ever take that as real unless you really ask them all the questions. So why do you think that? Or because my child's had butter puffs every day at school. Well, butter puffs don't have butter in, they're dairy free. So never presume anything. Read the labels every single time, even of things that you think could never ever have something in. So, for example, strawberry laces that kids have at parties, those strawberry sweets, they've got wheat in most cases. Would anyone imagine that? And you can get coconut, powdered coconut to put in curry. One of the main ingredients is milk, dried milk powder. There's chips that you put in the oven, and in the coating on the chips is bean flour. And in some of the dairy-free creams, there's lentil protein. So if you're allergic to any of those things, you can have a severe reaction to those if you're allergic to them, depending on the reaction that you get.
I mean, all of that is fascinating, but what I'm wondering is how is it regular? Is it routine that somebody would be referred to a dietitian by their GP? Should they go through that, the kind of testing and confirmed? Is it normal, or are the services a bit dispersed and it depends on where you go? Because it sounds to me that what you're saying is absolutely essential for people to know.
It really is, because what we don't want to do is use the EpiPen or the antihistamine, or have to use an inhaler because somebody's having a breathing problem from eating something. We don't want to treat that. We want to prevent the reactions occurring in the first place. And however, accidents happen, people make mistakes, and of course you must carry medications at all times. So it's all about preventing. So if you're reading labels, if you're taking care to really understand avoidance, you shouldn't be having reactions. So it's all about teaching people about that. In terms of are there dietetic services and who can get them, generally allergy clinics, if the child has been referred to an allergy clinic, then they will have a dietitian. And it may be a dietitian that's associated with that allergy clinic, or a general paediatric dietitian. If somebody has had a severe allergic reaction, of course they should always be referred to an allergy clinic, and we need to make sure they do. Or if parents suspect there might be an allergy. This is where we get the grey area, you see, because people say allergy is any reaction to any food. If to be referred to an allergy clinic, you have an immediate reaction to any food. You eat something, and within half an hour, you develop symptoms in your skin, your gut, and occasionally in your breathing. So what some people say is, oh, well, my child gets a tummy ache if they drink some cow's milk. Well, they haven't got an immediate allergy, most likely. It's probably a delayed allergy or a lactose intolerance. So those children probably won't end up in an allergy clinic, but they will still need advice about what to do. So in those cases, the GP can refer to a paediatric community dietitian, or to the hospital to the paediatric dietitian, even though the child isn't going through the actual allergy clinic.
Fascinating to talk to you, Tanya. Thank you ever so much. I think we need to do another video and perhaps get in the kitchen and start cooking something.
Yes, we should.